We've been waiting more than 10 years for it, and Long Way Up is finally ready to watch. Hey, this is Chad with BeGoneForGood. Today we're going to be talking about the long-awaited third installment of the Long Way series from Ewan McGregor and Charlie Boorman. If you're anything like me, you've been looking forward to this series with a great amount of anticipation, especially knowing that they did this whole trip on Harley-Davidson Livewires, the electric bike, and the whole thing was just completely different from the previous installments we'd seen before. If you've seen any of the previous videos that I've done about this series and the interviews that they've conducted and the kind of secrecy under which all the production went through, you'll know that I had a little bit of hesitancy. I was a little bit scared that this was going to be different. It wouldn't have the feeling of the old one, and it wouldn't have the frankness and the candor that they had in the old ones, where they really discussed how difficult the trip was at times and how much doubt they had about their ability to make it and the harder times that they ran into on their previous adventures. Apparently, we can put all that away now. There have been some folks out there that have had an opportunity to see the first 3 episodes, and there's been a lot more interviewing that's been going on since then, and we have answers to all of our questions now. Another one of my hesitations was the extraordinarily long post-production schedule that was on here. Again, if you've seen my previous videos, you know that the first installment, The Long Way Round, only took about 3 months after they finished the trip to get out and so that we could see it. The second adventure, Long Way Down, only took about 2 months. This one has been probably closer to 8 or 9 months before we had any idea when our release date was going to be. I don't know about any of you, but that made me a little bit nervous for what was going to be coming out on this end. So the first thing I would like to talk about is an article in Ride Apart by Sabrina Giacomini. She does a great job of going through the first 3 episodes that she was lucky enough to see prior to release date, and also had an interview with Ewan and Charlie to talk a little bit about the series and some of the pitfalls that they ran into along the way. She does a great job with this article talking about a lot of the reservations that we all had about the electric motorcycles going into this, and some of the desires we had to see the same team, the same crew, the same feelings that we got with the first 2 series. Apparently, they deal with the electric motorcycle thing right out of the gate. So right in the first episode, they talk about wanting to do it on electric bikes and knowing a lot of the difficulty that they were going to have doing this, especially going through Argentina and South America broadly. In the interviews she had with Ewan and Charlie, they talk about how there was really no reliable place, there's no infrastructure down there to be able to charge the bikes. So they were going place to place with the hopes that they would be able to keep these bikes charged and keep that move on going. Apparently it wasn't working out really well. I think we get all the way through the 2nd episode and they're still talking about how they're way behind because they just can't get the chargers that they need in order to keep these bikes going. Now we all know they bring huge amounts of support teams with them. I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to know how much they rely on those support teams as they make this type of adventure. They are totally different than every other adventurer out there. They've got huge backing, huge corporate sponsorship, enormous amounts of wealth to accompany them. So of course their adventure is going to be a little bit different. All I'm hoping for is that there's just a lot of honesty with that. And everybody who's seen these movies, seen this series at this point, has said that they are very honest about it, which is exactly what I would expect from these 2. One of the things I think is most exciting about this is apparently they've got a really great sense of humor about the difficulties that they were going to run into on electric bikes. When Ewan and Charlie were both asked if there's anything they would do differently, now knowing how difficult this was, they both said, well, I would have preferred a petrol bike. So they know what they were doing is difficult. They know what they were doing is probably outside the ordinary, and still launched into it anyway, and went through that adventure so we could kind of all see what it would look like. I think that's a great thing, and I'm really excited to see that. They also mentioned that the difficulty in charging and how hard it was to find chargers for these bikes ended up becoming a lot of what the adventure was. It wasn't about whether they could get across the Straits of Mongolia or the barren lands of Mongolia, or whether or not Ewan's then wife was going to be able to accompany them. It became about, are we going to be able to get these bikes from point A to point B on these charges reliably? That sounds like a pretty good story for an adventure to me. As Sabrina broke down the episodes a little bit further, she talks about some of the things that are missing from this and some of the additions that we have, and I think they kind of are flip sides of the same coin. Obviously, technology has taken a huge step forward from the last time they finished this, I want to say in 2006. So we've got video equipment that's capable, we've got drones that are out there. All of their production as far as what they were shooting is way ahead of where it was before. I mean, we've got 4K and 8K cameras that you can attach to your helmet. We are way beyond where they were before. And because of that, the whole production is just a lot slicker. You can see that just watching the trailer. It is a beautiful, beautiful trailer. These images that they've shot of the locations that they're at, overall production value on this entire thing just looks so much better. Now, Sabrina brings up the fact that kind of loses a little something too. The grittiness element, the, just hanging out with your buddies type of element of the first two series is missing a little bit because it's such a slick production, because it is so formalized, because instead of interviewing with a tent behind you and just holding a camera, they now have a static interview in a hotel room or in a living room. So everything just seems a lot nicer. It seems a lot more produced. It seems a lot flashier. And that's gonna appeal to some, and it's gonna obviously not appeal to others. But I do think there's a noticeable difference just in the look of the previous iterations and this one. I, for one, really like the way that this looks. The colors pop on this thing. It's just, every frame that you see in the trailer is gorgeous. And the first ones were great. They were a ton of fun. I liked palling along with the guys and seeing what that trip looked like. But this will be an extraordinarily good looking series on top of that. So now we're gonna get a little bit into how to watch this series. So the first 3 episodes are gonna drop on September 18th. I don't know if that's gonna be early in the morning, the way that stuff normally works, or if there's gonna be a specific time. I will be hosting a watch party here where we will probably binge the first 3 episodes pretty quickly just because I wanna see them. I've been waiting a long time to do this. That'll be out probably on the 18th. Subsequent videos will be coming out once a week. We do not know how long the series is gonna go, whether it's 8 episodes, 10, 15, I'm guessing that's probably a little bit. I'm probably shooting for 10, that's what I'm banking on. I'm thinking it's gonna be 10 episodes released over the next 7 weeks. You'll get all of those out there. Now, if you don't wanna pay for an Apple Plus subscription, they offer a 7-day trial that you can utilize. Now, you'll have to wait until the end of the series if you wanna be able to get all the episodes in there, or you can watch the first 3 with that 7-day trial and just see whether or not it's worth your time to invest in Apple TV at that point. Now, you don't have to have the actual Apple TV box in order to be able to watch Apple TV. I know that they've got some other services or some other devices that they're able to stream onto, so check with your local distributors, whatever devices you're using, and see if there's a way you can get Apple TV on there. I'm guessing worst case scenario, you can always get it on your computer and maybe throw it up to your TV if you have to. But that's gonna be the only way, at least initially, that you're gonna be able to see this series, which obviously is gonna keep some people on the outside of this as opposed to, a Netflix or an Amazon. But I think it also allows these guys a lot more latitude to boost the production value and make this a really great series. All right, so for everybody out there who has been following along with our videos that we've been doing about the Long Way Up series since we first heard about it in the electric bikes, I think we're finally closing this out. I think we're finally done. We're gonna have probably one more that we go through the actual series itself and talk about what we've seen there, because I'm so excited. I can't even contain myself. I've been looking forward to this for 3 years since I saw the first one and knew that they were in production for this future one. So I cannot wait. Like I said, I'm going to be hosting a live watch so we can all sit down and watch it together. It's probably gonna be a little bit of you'll have to queue it up on your home system while I queue it up on my system so that we can watch it without any sort of copyright issues, but that's gonna be coming probably next weekend. So if you're interested in doing that, definitely drop me a comment down below and say, hey, this is how we wanna do it. Maybe there's a specific time that works best, or a format that's gonna work best for everybody, but that's gonna be happening. Other than that, I'm working on the Mid-Atlantic BDR video. We're probably about halfway through. It's cycling really nicely now. We finally have a through line. We've got a flow going. So I imagine that next week we'll finally have that one released. You'll get to see the whole Mid-Atlantic. There's gonna be a ton of content in there, from the rides that we took to the places that we saw to some of the inner difficulties that we had amongst the group with a crash right off the bat and so on. So you'll see it all. Don't worry. If you like that sort of thing and want to see more content about adventure motorcycling and our bikes and our gear and our trips and lifestyle stuff and new videos that are going to be coming out from other people, definitely subscribe to the channel down below. Make sure that when you subscribe, you hit that bell notification so that you get updates as we upload new videos. Also, if you like this video, hit a thumbs up so that we get a little bit of boost in the ratings and more people can find out about Long Way Up and the adventure that's coming. Thanks a lot. See ya.